have a woman that's paying her own bills. She's doing everything for herself.
I mean, she's a man.
And then you're going to tell her,
what do you need me for?
Of course, but I'm saying,
do this. But you're different.
Do you not work, Auntie
She
Jenny?
doesn't need to work.
Even women in Dominican Republic and poor third world countries, they are sometimes working part-time or maybe even full-time, but they're still submitting to their men. So what is the difference between the West, women in America, and those women? It's a choice. What's up? It's your boy Cintron coming back at you with another reaction video. That kid you not, that's real name. Man, Andrew Tate and Brittney Renner in the same place? Nothing else need to be said. Let's get into it. Kids, don't join the game or click.
Hey, with all due respect, not all men are like that. Some men respect a woman that has her own mind. I know you and the type of men that you're speaking on behalf of.
let me tell you something.
Own mind and independence is two different things.
I'm agreeable to everything he says, but like I've dated men that just respect that I can make decisions.
Let me-
will actually
Submissive women have their own mind.
Yeah.
Completely. That's the first
There's
point.
Not
sometimes he might
iRobots.
be discussing stuff that he might want to be discussed, and there's sometimes we're like, shut the fuck up and let me say what I've got to say.
Yes,
And
completely.
maybe I don't even believe in star signs, but my man's a Sagittarius, so all this illogical
we're
stuff
the
and
best.
feelings and emotions, and no, you don't cry
Yeah.
about shit. Shut
That's
up,
it.
get on with it. Your head's big, get on with it.
Completely. And submissive women have their own mind, but this is something else you have to take into consideration, and this is super important, super true. The reason a lot of women don't truly understand a lot of things about relationships and
Combative.
how it works with men, etc., is because men will lie to you. Men lie
To get what we want?
for the same reason
Hell
you
yeah.
want to make up. Because men fall in love with what they see,
Mhm.
men fall in love
Idealism.
with what they see, and women fall in love with what they hear. So
Yeah,
you will lie to
two
you.
different ways.
So you'll go on a date
to your
with a
heart.
guy, and you'll sit there and
Heart.
say, "I don't listen to no, I'm independent, I da da da." And what's that man gonna say?
Oh, I love
yeah,
that.
That's exactly the kind of
Woman
woman
that I want.
Come suck this. It's a fucking. That is not what he wants. It's not what he wants. I'm telling you. The truth of
He's
what
trying to
he-
get
he
off.
can't be bothered to argue with you at dinner.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't. And you know what? Most men aren't smooth enough to do it. I can sit with a chick and disagree with her and be funny enough and smart enough and
charming enough.
charismatic enough, and
Yeah.
I'm high status enough, and she respects me enough to listen. But if I'm just some normal dude and I start arguing with a chick, she's gonna bounce on the dinner and say, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
See ya. So most dudes' dating strategy, most dudes' mating strategy is just pure agreement. Yeah. Anything to get the puss, because they're fucking dorks. That's fine. That's the truth, right? A real G will sit there and say, "What do you mean? I don't want to hear this shit."
As he was saying, man, correct. Dudes don't know how to deal with females in their combative nature, how to disarm them. You know, he might be a martial arts expert, expert kickboxer, but he can disarm a woman with his words, with his mind. Knowing how to defuse things and but not take a back seat to them, not kowtow to them, but put them in their place firmly. And most dudes just don't have the wherewithal, the mental wherewithal, to just constantly deal with berserker barrage, constant attacks. They'll attack you from every little angle, and how to check them quickly before things escalate, or just before she feels comfortable in going there. But also just to the experience in dealing with women. Once you've dealt with a certain number of women, different situations, and putting to bed those things that women can say that they're testing you. Knowing where things are headed, from your experience in the past dealing with those things, or just witnessing it, growing up, if you had that, in your household or around you as a, youth growing up, seeing how the men around you dealt with their wives. And most commonly, a lot of dudes just saw beta guys simping, or just, acquiescing to their wives or their spouses, their women's, their being at their beck and call and shit like that. I witnessed a lot of that growing up, and it just I'm like, just to have peace in the household, or just to avoid the arguments, or to just happy wife, happy life. Just subscribing to that mantra. They just really were spineless, to be honest. And it takes a man with some balls, some cojones, to tell a woman, "Hey, this is not the way we do things. We're not finna run the household like this. It's my word. We're going by what I say." Put his foot down and just firmly, not some violent man, not putting his hands on a woman like that. No, real man doesn't have to do any of that. But, he sets his foot down. And these are things that he's talked about before they even established a relationship. Hey, this is the way things are going to go. Hey, this is not a hostage negotiation. If you want to be on my program, cool, I'm letting you know ahead of schedule. Before we even get in a relationship. These are my rules. These are the things that, I've subscribed to. And if you're not on board, let's just call it a day and you can bounce. But if you want to be here, if you really want to be here on scholarship, you got to abide by these rules of the dorm, or we're going to throw you out. Or you're just going to have to vacate the premises. And it's not a, she's choosing to submit to those things. She's choosing to follow your leadership. And you've, like Andrew was saying here, you've earned that goodwill. You've earned that trust. You've earned that, from her. But yeah, most dudes are not in that category, man. They just don't, being agreeable is something that they've learned, by osmosis, by personal experience, from the environment. You are what you eat. You are what you see. And yeah, it's just not a lot of good examples, man, to see or to follow. But anyways, let's get back to the video. Click.
I'm telling you the baseline of how men truly function. If I'm expected to fight and die to protect you, because that's what it's
a big
expected
responsibility
of me by society and of you. You may think you don't expect that of me, but if we're walking down through London in the middle of the night and two guys come up with machetes, you're going to hide behind me.
Yeah, who's expected to die on the spot?
Because I can't win this fight. I'm expected to die to protect you. Well, then I expect you to agree with me.
Exactly.
I'm not here to fucking die for somebody who disagrees with me on everything.
Pause. And just because that extreme situation does not happen on the regular, the more common thing is for her to actually, play her role, play her part in being a dutiful wife and, taking care of the home, the affairs around the house, the kids, if they're in the picture, and to be submissive to her husband, to take care of him. It's extreme that the man, would have to die for her, but that is in the contract. That is on the dotted line there when he signs. He knows that, and he's signing up for it willingly. And it's on the table. If, danger comes, and yeah, it might come like once or twice a year or, whatever. But that is his role, and he's willing to play it. Just because it doesn't, come into rotation often, does not negate its power. Or, it doesn't equal out to where, I do this more so that you doing this doesn't... No. Those are in this larger scheme, in a greater framework, smaller sacrifices. You're not throwing away your life. I don't even say, no, throwing away is wrong to say, but you're not laying down your life for me. You are in a way, but it's a different type of sacrifice. And just because on face value, and you don't, this one's hidden behind the hidden cost or whatever, doesn't make it any less valuable or less of a commitment, because it is always ever present there. So don't get it twisted. All right, let's get back to it, man. Click.
That's not what I'm here to fucking... If I have that obligation to die on the spot for you, you have the obligation to pretend you like BMWs. So do your fucking part and shut up. And that's the bottom line of it.
And you know the difference is, the only difference, like he's top G, and I was like, the only difference between him and my man
I thought he said B&J's, but...
is money. That's the only difference.
And this is
the same way he talks, the same way he is.
I don't listen to my
but
man.
people say my man only owns 40,000, so he can't talk to me the way Andrew Tate talks to his. Why not?
completely.
Damn.
I think money is a big factor.
And that's respect. That's respect.
No, because you can't have a woman that's
not.
paying her own bills. She's doing everything for herself.
I mean, she's a man.
And then you're gonna tell her,
What do you need me for?
Of course, but I'm saying,
do this. But you're different.
Do you not work, Auntie
She
Jenny?
doesn't need to work. You take all that stress away from her.
Pause. But even women in Dominican Republic and poor third world countries, they are sometimes working part-time or maybe even full-time, but they're still submitting to their men. So what is the difference between the West, women in America, and those women? It's a choice. You are willingly making a choice not to submit to your man because you have all these freedoms. You've been enabled by society who is taking care of, basic needs, and you're living in a life of luxury. Especially in the West, in first world countries. I live in Japan, but like, you live a life of luxury. You don't have to worry about day-to-day survival. You can worry about, Fendi and Prada and Gucci bags and shit like that, when other people around the world are just focused on their day-to-day survival. The basic needs: food, shelter, clothes, resources, and finances. Where the next meal's coming from. Are they going to be employed at the end of the week? Are they going to have to fight, defend themselves from, grape and others? It's savage. How other people are living out here. We're lost in the sauce in the West because we're so pampered by society. By the society that men have built and have allowed you to live without a fucking worry and in safety, relatively, because it's not 100% safe, but comparatively speaking, yeah. And you're free. You have freedom of speech and so many other things, and just ungrateful. But let's get back to the video, man. Click.
She'll be a lot
Why does money have to matter for submission?
That's what I mean. I don't work.
If you have enough
Hey,
money
exactly what the
to
point I
make
was
sure that
saying.
she doesn't need to work, go and deal with her boss every day,
I don't
deal with all
work.
this stress, all these bills.
You can submit to your boss, but you can't submit to your man at home.
And be like,
But
oh,
this-
okay, he pays my bills. You know
My
what?
man must
Oh,
own
you-
about
because your boss pays your
40,000.
bills,
I don't
huh?
work.
I'm like, I just
Or a
never,
company.
I grew up in a 1% family. I never expected a dude to pay for everything. I don't know.
I don't.
But I still think, like,
But it's still
I don't
like,
expect a man to pay
Your
for
money
finance worked, but my
is
mom
her money, and her money is her money.
Like, it wasn't.
The point is this: in every relationship that's beautiful, every relationship that's happy, regardless of the socio-economic scale, regardless of how rich or poor they are, regardless of how famous they are, regardless of how whatever, in every relationship where people
There's a
are
dominant
truly happy,
in-
pay attention. The man is in charge. He's the top G of that house.
Yeah.
His woman makes him feel that way. She respects him for what he does, and they are happy. We're talking about me out here in the world, social media, whatever. It doesn't matter. Every man wants to be the man of his household, the king of his castle. Every single happy relationship is the same. I genuinely implore you to name a happy relationship where the woman's in charge.
Pause. And that's the difference, man. Like, the women actually, they go out there and get this high status and work and are independent, and they're unhappy. You look at them on the whole, like women who are like, high earners and they have so many options like that. It's so much harder for them to find a fulfilling and satisfying relationship because it's funny, the more money they make and the higher they go up the ladder, the smaller their circle to pick from becomes, because the men that they're looking for, that the guys that are on their level financially or same earnings, are not looking for them. They're actually looking, and that dirty term, men have always dated down for the most part. Like, you look at reflectively looking at history, a woman being in charge, like, she's with some guy that she deep down doesn't respect. She don't respect that man. But that's a hard pill for these. That's why they don't get it until they're there, and then they look down, and it truly is lonely at the top. Let's get back to the video, man. Click.
Name one. You can't. They end up broken up. Fucking she leaves him. Whatever. Name a happy relationship where the woman doesn't blindly say, okay, I won't go to that concert. Name one. There's only one framework in which people are happy. With the man in charge, the woman trusts and respects him enough to let him be in charge, and they're a happy couple in relationship. Any other type of relationship is a time bomb.
Yeah. Just
So if you want to have
waiting
a
for it to be
relationship,
over.
that's what you should be aiming for. You need to be perspicacious enough and think about these things and sit and go, well, that's the only way relationships work.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to build it that way.
I think you need
Instead
to
of
be
coming along and believing you're going to reinvent the wheel.
And that's the arrogance that a lot of women, modern day women, think that they're going to be able to do. They think they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, just for a moment, reflect. upon human history, how many people have come across and made their mark, done something new? Where have you seen that done in the relational framework? And if it has evolved, or I would say devolved, into something new, how lasting was it? What was its long-term impact? Was it negative? And yeah, the backlashes and everything. But things go in cycles. And did things just go like this, or did they revert right back? It's simple. Men and women. Complementary. But y'all still ain't seeing that picture. Like, comment, share, and subscribe if you like. Thanks for watching. Check me out at Cintron, Cintron Anime, Cintron Life, or Cintron Laughs, or other social media.